Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This week we are going to be just kind of talking about tattoo stuff. I've only posted a couple videos in regards to, tattooing, and I just kind of wanted to come on here and say a couple things about like what I think you should know before getting into this industry, because there's a couple of things that like I really just didn't think of when I got into this. Let's talk about it. If you've been getting tattooed, you usually have gotten quotes for things, or a lot of people are just like, tattoos are expensive. I think it's just kind of a known thing at this point. And tattoos usually go a couple different ways. You'll either get a quote for the piece itself, or you will get like an hourly of like what the artist rate per hour is. There's a couple of different things when you are the tattooer that you need to think about, because when I was getting tattooed, I would be like, oh, your rate is $200 an hour. That's a lot of money. You have a lot of expenses that you probably didn't think about before getting into this. When I got into this, I was like, okay, there's a startup cost. I did do a startup cost video on my channel too, if you are thinking about getting into it, and that is just the basics. Now, you can buy needles and inks, things like that, but once you use a needle, you need to replace it. That's kind of important. Things expire, things need replacing. Licenses are only good for a certain amount. You should probably get insurance, not just for your business, but also for your body, because most of us are not W-2 employees. We're usually our own, like I am technically my own business and I rent a room. Now, I have paid shop rent and I have also paid a percentage. Now, I've paid a percentage before, and it was 60-40, meaning the artist, me, gets 60 and the shop gets 40. So for every $100 that I get paid out to me, I pay them $40, so I only get 60. Now, a lot of people will be like, oh my god, $100, and it's only something like this big. I get a lot of people that will message me and they're like, really? It's super small, it'll take you like 5 minutes. I never schedule anyone with less than an hour. If you say you want a tattoo, even if it's only going to be this big, I schedule at least an hour, because people will show up, they'll want something else. They'll make it bigger. They'll make it smaller. You're going to adjust it a couple times. And the last thing you want are all of your clients running into each other. To me, it looks unprofessional and unorganized. And as somebody who takes a lot of pride in what I do, I feel like scheduling out enough time in between your clients is really important. So with that being said, my shop minimum per piece is 100. And that is very standard at this point in time. Because I schedule out an hour, and even if I scheduled out 30 minutes, we're all different. But that only means that I'm getting $60 for the hour. That also doesn't include health insurance. That doesn't include my materials. That doesn't include my licenses. That doesn't include my taxes. That doesn't include the time that it took me to draw, which arguably is always going to be a lot of unpaid time. And then if you had to do a consultation with them because they didn't know what they wanted, that's an unpaid thing as well. Now, some artists will pay for consultations, or have you pay for consultations, and they'll also have you pay extra for custom designs. And while I do think that everyone is going to be different, I don't. So if I get somebody who's getting a small little inch tattoo, and I had to set an hour for you, I only made $60 that hour, and after taxes and everything is taken out, it's like more like 45 maybe. So it's really not that much. And with bigger pieces comes a bigger percentage that you have to pay. But not everyone who schedules with you actually shows up. And that is another thing I want to talk about. Most tattooers will require a deposit. And all tattooers should require a deposit. What this is basically the amount that you pay to block off your time for the tattoo on their schedule. And I usually take a $50 deposit for smaller things. And as the project quote gets larger, I will slowly increase that, because I want to know that at least my drawing is paid for. So if it's, a $100 piece and it's only going to take me like 5 minutes to draw it, I would like a $50 deposit, because if you don't show up, I at least got paid for the time that took me to draw and the time that's no longer on my schedule. Now, that is still a percentage that needs to go to the shop. If you are paying shop split, like I said, if you do rent, that is a different situation, but you still need to like allocate part of what you were getting paid to pay rent for your booth. Nothing is free here, right? But I have had people who have scheduled like 4-hour sessions with me, and my current rate is $150 an hour. So I have had people schedule 4-hour sessions with me, which would equate to $600, and I only took a $100 deposit. And when they didn't show up, that meant I wasn't getting paid for the other like $500 that I normally would have made. And usually when you find out that somebody's not showing up, it's the day of, and the odds of you getting someone to take that spot with the amount of work that you were already planning on doing is usually very slim. And so allocating enough in a deposit to make sure that you are going to be okay if your client doesn't show up. Now, I will say your friend is going to be the biggest offender. The people that actually know you, the ones that are like, oh, I know a tattoo artist, let me schedule with you. They're going to be the worst. They will be your worst nightmare because they feel most of the time, if they don't work in service, they typically will be the ones that are like, oh yeah, my friend, like, I have to cancel. She'll probably be fine, right? It is, sometimes I get that things happen, but more often than not, the friends that I have chosen to not take deposits from and just said, oh, it's okay, will be the ones to cancel and not really respect that because they think that they are the exception to your rule. And deciding to not bend on those rules, I think, is really important. I have had so many people ask me to not do a deposit or to honor the deposit even though they canceled last minute. Like, I have very clear deposit policies. And I think it's really important for everyone to have very clear deposit policies because I say if you try to reschedule within 48 hours, it is a cancellation. I keep your deposit. You need another deposit to reschedule because within 48 hours, the odds of me filling that spot are very slim. And that is just me watching out for myself. Have deposit policies and don't make the exceptions for your friends, but also don't make yourself schedule exceptions. If you have been on my TikTok, you will know I have bended some rules before, and in every single time I regret it, where people will be like, I can only come in on Monday. Guess what? I don't work Mondays. And people will be like, I can only. And it's very tempting when somebody says, oh yeah, I'll pay you like $500 to come in on your day off. Usually you're like, oh, I'll come in on my day off. And I almost always regret it because we need time to rest. I feel like most tattooers do not do 40-hour work weeks. We don't do a 9 to 5. It's very different. And the reason for this is it's very hard on your body. And some people are in better shape than I am, and some people are in worse shape than I am. Every tattooer I know, though, has some sort of back, hand, or wrist issues or neck. It is very taxing. And you're going to have to take care of yourself in a way that you've never done before. Before getting into this, I did have a bit of an injury in 2020. And, it was fine. But now, as someone who now hunches, like 25 to 30 hours a week, I need massages. Otherwise, my back's going to go out. So I need to get a weekly massage. I need to get acupuncture. I need to work out. I go to a chiropractor. I do all the things. And that is a lot of money. So going back to the money thing, things do end up adding a lot more than what you think in the beginning. There's startup costs and then there's the routine maintenance costs. And like that is a lot more than what I thought it was going to be. And so needing to make sure that you are good is really important. And it can be really tempting to take on more clients and be like, oh, I can just add another day. Like I work 4 days a week. And a lot of times I get tempted to give up one of my 3 days off because somebody wants to be in and they're like, I will pay you. And the weeks that I do that, that's when my body's like, no. So you need to honor yourself and your body. And a lot of people are going to come to you with like this sense of like urgency where they're like, I need something right now. And I get it. Sometimes people are impulsive. Sometimes they did something, or sometimes they got a tattoo somewhere else and they hate it. They need you to fix it. And I get that. But you cannot personally take all of that on yourself. Moving on to taking things personally on yourself is you're going to get a lot of emails and a lot of Instagram DMs and everything like that. And people are going to constantly message you over and over and over again when they don't get a response immediately. You can let them wait. You don't need to be always readily available for everyone all the time. And I still struggle with that. But I will see people message me on Instagram, and just because I'm online and scrolling and not responding, then I'll get like 2 or 3 messages and maybe like somebody will call the shop. I've had times where people have sent me emails like at the start of my day and like, I don't have time to answer it right away because I have to go to work and actually tattoo. And by the end of the day, I will have gotten a second email, an Instagram DM, and a phone call to the shop, all because they need an answer right now, apparently. Which is so weird to me because with tattoos, you literally have the rest of your life to get it. So why is it an emergency right now? Just being able to set clear boundaries for yourself of being like, I need this, my mental health needs this, my body needs this, is just gonna be, like, really crucial to you being in this long term and being able to, just manage stress and your mental health accordingly because, I'm about 3 years in right now, and it has taken me a really long time to get to a point where I feel comfortable with saying no, with saying, "You have to wait." The girl that I apprentice under, I remember one time she was booking for November, like, in January, and I was like, "Good for you." Like, and for me, like, I feel bad when I tell someone, like, "Hey, I can't get you until next month." Which is typically, like, not a bad wait time unless you try to do, like, a walk-in, but, like, the thing about wanting a specific artist is that, like, people need to make appointments. Most of the time, you're not just gonna be available right away, and if you start out of the gates with just making yourself always available all the time, people are going to expect that, and so, having clear boundaries and, like, you don't have to be mean, just be like, "These are the way that I operate, and you're here in my business, and this is hours of operation," right? So, with that, if you are thinking about getting into tattooing and have just been kind of browsing the internet, wondering what you should know, these are my, what I would think, helpful tips and tricks as to getting into this industry and just different things to look out for. So, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, I'd really appreciate if you go hit like and subscribe. And if not, that's cool. I appreciate you sticking around. And I will see you all next time. Bye bye.